Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Citrus Preps podcast alongside Mike Deem. I'm Brett Knutson. Glad to have you with us today. Have a lot to get to. It's been a few weeks, Christmas break, New Year's break, but
Happy
doesn't
New Year.
mean Happy New Year. Doesn't mean a lot of things haven't happened. A lot to get to in this podcast. A new head football coach at Citrus High School. We'll talk about that. A milestone win for one of our local girls high school basketball coaches, Ron Allen from Lecanto. We'll talk about that. Also, some more changes in the high school football playoffs. We talked about the new districts, but now they're changing a couple of other things. We'll talk about that as well. If we have time, maybe real quick into the Buccaneers and really hitting the
new coach there too.
The luck jackpot, I think. There,
I agree with you on that.
Bruce Arians. We'll talk about that as well, and then keep you updated on everything that's going on in the winter sports, which are quickly coming to a close. Just some of them, there already is district tournaments. There's been a county championship in girls weightlifting. Congratulations to the Citrus girls. They're taking part in the district meet tonight at Weeki Wachee. And so a lot going on. And we'll start it off with a little high school soccer and kind of just about where we have
same place we were before
and been all season. The Lecanto girls continue to be very, very good. Same thing with the Citrus boys. They continue to roll. Another win last night, and it's getting to the point now where these teams, Seven Rivers having an outstanding year as well, these teams are going to get to put it all on the line in the district and the state tournament and see where they stack up.
They're right around the corners. Lecanto girls soccer, just kind of dominating their division and their district right now, 12-1 on the district side, 13th 3-1 overall. But the biggest thing is that they've got a great defense. They've only allowed 15 goals versus 98 that they've scored. Kevin Town's got them going on all cylinders right now. Should easily go through the district and blow through it and get into the next round of the playoffs. But ranked number 8 in Class 3A, so they're pretty good.
Yeah, you get that state recognition. I know, statewide it's hard to tell because you're not seeing schools from other parts of the state, but still I think it just is a testament to how solid that program has been, the great run that they had last year, and the way they're winning their games this year. I think Coach Town knows, though, once you get past the district tournament, which, like you said, they should have very little trouble. Although, Citrus girls played them tight, so there certainly is an opportunity. But once you get past probably the first round of the state playoffs, that's when you start finding out if you can win those 2-1 soccer games, because that's what you're going to have from the regional round all the way to the state Final Four and further if they hope to get that far.
Yeah, they've got a great back line there in Lecanto for the defense, plus a great goalkeeper. So I think they'll be okay on that. It's just like you said, get into the final pairings that you're coming into the playoff situation, and you're playing against teams that are really, really good, and you got to watch it. But same thing on the other side, the boys soccer. Citrus 12-2-1 leading the district. They're 10-0 in the district set. 59 goals versus 19 allowed. They're ranked number 23 in Class A. Joshua McKenna, first-year coach, but a very experienced coach and a person has played soccer all of his life. I mean, actually graduated from Lecanto in 2004. He was a senior at the state championship team, so he understands those kind of playoff runs too. So he knows how to put them in the position to win.
Yeah, that's the one thing that's interesting about soccer, especially. That once you get into that state tournament, these 5, 8, 9-0 games, there's not going to happen. And so, and that's the hard part, I think, about coaching. And for Coach McKenna, for Coach Town, is you can't practice that. And if the team you're playing, you're 8 goals better than, you can't practice it. You just hope your girls kind of have it. For the Lecanto girls, a lot of them went through that last year with their run, because at some point you're going to be in a match where it's tied at the half or you're down 1-0 in the second half, and you've got to figure out a way when most of the season they haven't been, either one of these two that we're talking about have been challenged that way.
No, not at all. And that's the thing. Playoff soccer is just like playoff football, just like playoff anything. Stress and the pressure comes into it, and that's where just little details need to make the difference. That's where coaches can put them in the right position to be successful in the playoffs. And I think both McKenna and Town have that capability.
Yeah, I mean, they've been through the playoff runs before, and when you don't have a ton of experience with the players on the field, you look to the coaches off the field to fill in those gaps. So that's
coming right up too. That district is right around the corner.
Yeah, getting ready for it right now. So it's going to be a fun one. We'll keep you up to date on that. Hopefully a couple of stories coming up as these teams get ready. Weightlifting we mentioned as well. Check out our YouTube channel as all of our feature stories will be put on there. You can check that out on a daily basis. We'll keep you updated. Also, as we talked about, girls and boys high school basketball continues to roll through after the break, and they started up some district contests last week, and now this is their first full week of 2 district games coming into it. And it's certainly getting interesting, and I think it's going to be interesting moving forward, trying to maneuver your way into the state playoffs. Here's a look at the scores from last night. A big battle for the top spot in the district in 6A7. Nature Coast boys continue to roll through.
Dominating.
A little closer game this time than the first time around with Crystal River, but Nature Coast holds Crystal River down 35 points, 59-35. Lecanto no trouble with a Weeki Wachee team. And this I thought was the interesting game last night in terms of the standings was Hernando and Citrus. Hernando picks up the win 78-69. Nature Coast alone at 8-0. Crystal River and Hernando now tied for second place, 5-3. You can kind of already see them maybe meeting up in the district semifinals. Right now, Lecanto is a half a game ahead of Brooksville Central, who's really starting to pick it up at 3-4 in district. Citrus at 3-5. So if you look at the standings, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 separated by just 2 games.
Yeah.
And coming up on Friday night, Citrus is at Lecanto. That's a huge basketball game, not just because it's a county rivalry, because it can determine seeding for the postseason.
It's great, though. It's a county rivalry and continued seeding, so it's good.
Absolutely. Crystal River does not play district game. Here are the girls' scores from last night. Low-scoring contest, but Crystal River girls pick up the win. They will remain in second place in the district. Weeki Wachee still the dominant team in the district. They knock off Lecanto 67-33. Citrus with the surprise as they knock off Hernando. That probably
was interesting.
Big win for Citrus. Congratulations to them. That one is also perhaps doing a favor to the Lecanto Lady Panthers. Weeki Wachee is 8-0, Crystal River 9-1, Hernando 5-5, Lecanto 4-5, Nature Coast is 3-5, Citrus is 3-7, Central 0-9. But as we look forward to the upcoming district tournament on the girls' side, it will take place at Nature Coast. You really look. Crystal River and Weeki Wachee are the teams to beat. Weeki Wachee is perhaps just a little bit ahead. And so I think if you are Crystal River and you're Lecanto, you want to be the number 2 or number 3 seed, playing each other in the semifinals, knowing that you wouldn't have to beat Weeki Wachee.
You want to get to that final game.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting. And by that Citrus win, there's a chance that when you go through the tiebreakers and whatnot, if Lecanto takes care of business down the stretch, they have a good chance to be the number 3 seed. Crystal River 9-1, just a couple more district games. They are going to be at worst the number 2 seed with Coach Bryant and his young ladies. And the question is, can they get by Weeki Wachee? We'll have to see. But Crystal River looks like they're ready for a run into the state tournament. As we mentioned on the boys' side, it's going to be interesting. Big game Friday night, Citrus at Lecanto. That one was a good ball game. We broadcast that game over at Citrus first time around. It's going to be an up and down, high-scoring game. Lecanto, an opportunity to move up in the standings, put Citrus couple games behind them in the standings, which would be important for Citrus. You pick up the win and you move up. So it's getting down to it. Most of the girls' teams only have 2 to 3 games left in district play. The boys have 4 games left in district play. So
January comes at you fast.
Yeah, it does. Right after you get done with Christmas break, you get back and you're playing district games, and they're huge. We just got done talking about the girls, and so we want to talk real quick and congratulate Ron Allen, head girls basketball coach at Lecanto, 300th win.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
got 301, didn't he?
He's now got 301. And this part we say tongue in cheek, joking, but you got that big banner hanging in the gym with Coach Nichols on there. And Coach Allen talked about it when I interviewed him and said, if I get it, I get it. If I don't, no big deal. But he looks forward to that breakfast with Coach Nichols when he says, "I got you by one." There's an opportunity for him to pass him this year. It's right there for the taking for his young ladies. But I think more importantly, he wants to get them into the state playoffs. That would be the goal. The wins are secondary. I found it interesting talking to him, and I think this is true about so many places, but Lecanto and talking to him and Coach Dupler, his wife worked the concession stand. All of his boys were either involved in the girls basketball program. His last one, Brent, played, didn't help with the girls, but was there. I mean, it's been a family affair for the Allens. And
as long as I can remember, he's been there. So.
Yeah, and interesting. I mean, he came back 3 years ago because they, at the last minute, had to find a head coach. Couldn't bring in somebody that they thought would be able to handle the program as well as they hoped. So he said, I'll step in and coach for a year. They had one win. This was off of their state Final Four team, and he knew it was going to be a rough year. But he said, I'm going to come in and do it for a year, then I'm going to go out and I'm going to find a head coach to run the program. But he said, a couple weeks after the season ended, a couple of the girls said, hey, when can we get back into it? And he kind of said to his wife, maybe one more year. Maybe I'll do it another year. And I think, I don't know, but if he stays on another year, it will be a group of girls that he coached from freshman to graduation, full cycle.
That's enticing for a coach right there.
Yeah, that is enticing. I think he wants to see that group through. But I think also, if you've watched Lecanto play, they've got some talented young freshmen girls and sophomores coming up, and I think he says, Coach Dupler, two things I took from Coach Dupler, he said it, Ron is Lecanto. It's in his blood, and I think you see that around here, not just Lecanto, but Crystal River. Folks who are Crystal River, we see that, with Coach Lowry in football, how bad he wanted to get back to Crystal River. Same thing with Lecanto. And then Coach Dupler also said, you give Ron a couple of years, he's going to be tough to beat. And I think you notice from one win 3 years ago to now they're knocking on the doors, number 3 in the district. Yeah, just kind of moving up. So
that's the way you do it. And he does it well.
Yeah, and so congratulations to him. That is a big honor.
A friend of Citrus Preps. We thank you very much.
He's not afraid to make fun of us, but he should sometimes, and we appreciate that. Also, in coaching news, a new head coach out at Citrus High School happened right around the first of the year. Rob O'Brien takes over for Nate Varnador. Coach Varnador decided to get out of coaching, go into the ministry. Congratulations to him. I see him with his posts on Facebook all the time, doing a great job.
He is.
And O'Brien has some ties to the area. Didn't play here. Has got family in the area. Has been back several times. Really, most of his work has been done out west in the state of Colorado. 33 years old. Young guy, has been a high school football coach, was a Division II assistant coach at the Colorado School of Mines. The last couple of years, been a defensive coordinator at a high school in Colorado. We will talk to him next week, have something on Citrus Preps, introducing you to him and all of his philosophies. I know he talked a little bit about that up-tempo, sort of fast-paced,
but I think he's
rocket motion offense is what he said.
He's got to get to know his players, and he's going to have to maybe adjust from that, because he doesn't know what he has right now. So when he comes in, he may have adjusted, but that's his forte. That's what he wants to do.
Yeah. And you've got to see how it plays out as we move forward. And we'll talk to him and talk about what he plans for
he's a good hire.
Citrus High. It's hard to hit a home run. We've seen you go with a guy who's from the area, bring him in because he understands it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You go with somebody outside, you never know. You just hope that they have the passion and they have the desire to build, because it's going to take some time with any school around here. And most of all, you just hope that they're good people, good educators, and good leaders of men, because when it's all said and done, and I think every coach we've talked to in this area, they understand the big picture. these young men are going to go out and be husbands and fathers.
Exactly.
More important that they're good at that than how fast they run the 40 and if they can catch the football.
Look at Dabo Swinney. I mean, that's the perfect example on what you should be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. They're
as a coach.
Yeah, and a person, and how he treats his players. Right. So good luck to Coach O'Brien. As I said, we will talk to him. The high school football, real quick, they FHSAA came out with the final district assignments for the next couple of years, because a couple of schools some didn't sign up for the right thing. Some said they were independent, but they're not independent. Some had some population issues.
Oh, like Notre Dame?
Yeah. Okay. None of that affected any of our schools, so it all will remain the same. Lecanto will still be a 6A. The 5A schools will remain the same in their district. Dunellen will stay a 5A, so that district around here will still be Citrus, Crystal River, Weeki Wachee, Central, Hernando, and Nature Coast. That stays exactly the same. The big change that came out of the meetings a couple weeks ago is that the point system that has been used for the last 2 years, and I guess Mike has been, I don't know if you call it controversial. It's new, so it had its detractors and a lot of people complaining. Well, they're going to now, you hear it a lot in college basketball, the RPI, strength of schedule, is essentially what it is. 3 components to the RPI: your winning percentage, your opponent's winning percentage, and all of your opponent's winning percentage. I've looked at it several times, and don't quote me on this because I could be wrong, but I think the breakdown is 35% of your number is your winning percentage. I think it's 35 for your opponents and 30% on the opponent's opponent. So it's broken up into 3 categories. Pretty simple. There is no confusion. And I'm pretty positive as well, we're not going to be talking about bonus points for beating a team a classification higher or lower. You're going to want the teams that you play to have a high winning percentage. So schools that tried to get points by scheduling weak and just picking up 8 or 9 wins and hoping that's enough to get you into the top 6 or 8, that philosophy isn't probably going to work this time around. You're going to want to have a high winning percentage. You're going to hope your opponent's winning percentage is high. If you're a school that's in a district, you want all those teams to win a lot of non-district games. So it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out. It's still going to be the same in terms of 4 districts in a region. The district champs get in, and the next 4 are wild cards, but it will come down to your strength of schedule, your RPI, if you are one of the 4 wild card teams.
Well, let me ask you this. Is it going to be an issue for the somewhat weaker teams to be able to schedule teams, because the other teams, if they want to schedule a team that's going to, get RPI a little bit high, if you're a 1-9 team from last year, and you figure that they're going to be 2-8 or 3-7 this year, that team doesn't want to play you, or maybe not play you.
Yeah, that obviously is going to be part of it. In college basketball, you get away with it because you play 35 games.
Yeah,
there's a bigger body of work. You're talking about a 10-game season. And, for schools like the ones we're talking around here, 5A and 6A schools, you've got your district. So you control your own destiny in that sense. You win first place in your district, you're in the state playoffs. You don't have to worry about any RPI.
Okay.
Now, if you want to be a wild card team, obviously you're going to want to have
non-district games are going to be the ones that you really look at from a standpoint of
if you're
scheduling.
A team that's going to finish 2nd or 3rd in your district, or So it will be interesting. Do 5A and 6A schools try to schedule 2 and 3A schools that are 7 or 8 win teams?
Let's use Lecanto. Lecanto with Baker County. Baker County coming in, and playing a higher classification, but Baker County obviously was the better team a couple of years. So is it difficult for Baker County to be able to do that, or is it just vice versa? Lecanto?
Yeah, I think that's what's going to kind of have to be hashed out, is how do you make out your schedule and what are you willing to do? I mean, I think for a lot of coaches, it's you know internally where your program is and what you're going to be next year. You may not say that to us. You may not tell that to your kids.
Players,
but you have an idea of where you are. And I think a lot of times you schedule accordingly. If you are a team that maybe was a 6-4 team from last year, and you've got everybody coming back, and you think you've got a chance to be right up there, maybe you're not the top team in a tough district, but you're right there for a wild card, maybe you go out and you say, okay, let me find some 500 or better teams, 2 or 3 of them, and can I get them on the schedule?
Yep.
And see. And do it that way. But still, a lot of it too, Mike, again, sometimes I think we overcomplicate things most of the time when you're talking about scheduling in high school football, especially in this area. A lot of it is simply about location.
Yeah.
I mean, schools want to schedule schools that are within an hour's drive.
Exactly.
The district here, we're talking about, you're going to see a lot of games against Hudson in 5A and Pasco and Anclote and Zephyr Hills, maybe, if you want to take that beast on. But you're going to see a lot of that, I think, because, you're still talking about economics of travel and that type of thing. So I think you're still,
Still going to pay that yellow dog bus driver.
Yeah, you do. And, what does Dunellen do? We talked about their schedule last year. They scheduled everybody who was a playoff team.
Yep.
And they're in a heck of a district this year coming up. They probably, because of the district so good, do they need to schedule the Madison County, the Baker counties, and those?
Why not?
So we'll have to see. So that's the new format that's going to go into place. I give the FHSAA and Frank Beasley credit because they're not afraid to make some changes.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if the point system, was going to work out long term. Obviously, the folks behind the scenes, the coaches and the athletic directors decided we needed to look at something else, and so they go RPI, which, okay, fine with me if that's what they decide. You got to do what your membership wants to do, and Coach Beasley, I think, always has the good of high school football at the forefront. So we'll see how it goes. And one more high school football thought before we change it up real quick. Changing of the guard at Weeki Wachee. Jacob Gray is out very unexpectedly. Happens this week. So something transpired.
Yes,
and,
I was gonna say it happened.
From everything that we've gathered, Coach Gray and the administration did not see eye to eye on several different things. Coach Gray, I think, let it be known that he was looking for different philosophy about running a program, maybe different commitments, whatever it is. He was going to be looking for a new place to coach. And Weeki Wachee said, we know you're going to do that, and instead of waiting for you to find the job you want, let's just go ahead and cut ties now and move on.
And that might be a good thing for them because they got spring coming up and they got to get a coach in
That's
there.
exactly what they said.
Yep.
We what if something happens? What if something breaks, the second week of March and you've got a job?
Yep.
Let's go ahead and be proactive in this. It brings an interesting question and a name that we talked about at the Citrus job, Bill Veneta, who is the athletic director at Weeki Wachee. Took his name out of the process at Citrus, but was very interested in coaching there. He wants to coach. Bill Veneta wants to be a head football coach. There's no question. He's got a ton of time in Hernando County School District. He can go outside of that district now and work someplace else. His name has been mentioned at Anclote. He was one of the finalists for the job at Pasco. He's sitting there at Weeki Wachee. I don't know. But obviously,
no brainer.
It would.
Sorry,
it would make a lot of sense. But you never know.
He knows the players. He knows the schemes. He knows everything about that program.
He knows the county.
He knows the county. Yep.
He wins
the district.
Yeah,
he knows everything.
It would be a smooth transition, but you
never know.
Maybe he does not want to coach right. You never know. But so that's what's going on in high school football. It always seems to find its way into our conversation, even though we're still a long time away from football. But that's how big it is.
That's how big it is here. That's right. Football is always going to be football. That's what it is.
We've talked about this before, Mike. It's and this maybe goes along with Coach Gray and maybe an interesting dynamic to Coach O'Brien coming from Colorado to Florida. Baker County's head coach is going across the border to Georgia to become a coach there. I don't even know if it's a head coach. Money. It comes down to it. I saw a lot of things going back and forth. The bottom line is you can bring home, close to 6 figures not even as a head coach in the state of Georgia.
Yep.
And you don't get anywhere near that in the state of Florida. A lot of people nationally talk about the state of Florida because of the athletes and the Division I football players we put out. The state of Florida is sorely, sorely, sorely behind in compensation. I think Georgia is probably, and Texas too, they may be way, way out there on compensation, but I think you could find a happy median.
Totally agree with that.
To help keep coaches, good coaches,
I have
in the state of Florida.
I've received the coach's stipend, and I know it's not. It
doesn't pay for your kids' Christmas.
Exactly. Doesn't pay for gas half the time.
No, and that's. I mean, football is a bell in most states. Football is the bell cow sport. Yep. Florida especially, and for these coaches to get and that's any coach, I don't care if you coach wrestling or track. I mean, you're a teacher and you're underpaid. Yep. We know that. Yep. But, football in the state of Florida
drives your athletic department. It basically drives your
school.
Yep.
You are in a lot of ways. Your school is viewed a lot of times by your football program.
Yep.
If you have a successful football program, people recognize and know your school. What
it's
is
unfortunate,
what is the payoff and the return? I don't know, but that's just the way it is. I mean, you can win a bunch of wrestling state titles. You can win softball state titles. We look at the success of the Dunellen softball team that they've had.
Yeah.
But what is Dunellen?
Football.
It's just kind of the way it goes. So, anything else before we get quickly into?
You want to get quickly into that?
Well, not quickly. We want to keep this tight for folks who are on the go.
Yeah,
they want their information fast.
Okay, here's the information fast. Bruce Arians was got into it, the head Buccaneers football coach here. Jason Light did a good job in getting somebody I think is going to be the guy to push them over the edge. It's as simple as that. Bruce Arians, BA.
Obviously, couple of concerns. I mean, he walked away from Arizona.
He's 66.
Health/burnout.
I've watched too much.
Was that the whole story, or was there something else brewing in Arizona? Did he realize Arizona was about to be what Arizona is and did not want to go into a rebuild? I don't know, because he's sort of walking into a rebuild, but a year off, refresh, recharge. The one thing you can say, a lot of things you can say about Bruce Arians, he's cool. I mean, he's just a cool dude. But
he doesn't care anymore. I mean, that's a thing that I really feel that is going to be refreshing for the media, number one. It's very neat to be able to do that. But also the players, the age, I think he transcends age on that. And he can relate to those players even if they're 21 years old. Yeah,
the resume says, if I say it, you listen, because I've walked the walk and talked the talk and I've been to the Super Bowl. I mean, you could argue that, did Lovey have that? Maybe not. So, I mean, it's been a while since you've had a coach that walks in with immediate credibility. Now, I'm not saying that has to happen. These guys should play for whoever the heck is coaching them for as much as they are making. Mm-hmm. The big thing is this was a good hire, a guy who's won a lot of football games. And again, this is another coach, just like Dirk Cutter, that will first and foremost be judged by how it goes with Jameis Winston.
Quarterback.
And Roethlisberger, and I saw I saw Shannon Sharp and his partner talking about it on their show, saying, I see a lot of Roethlisberger and Winston. Yeah. He's not Andrew Luck. He's not, some of the other, not Carson Palmer, but he's more of a Roethlisberger kind of guy. And that's, Arians had success with that. So if anybody's going to get it done, and this is, the Bucs are in that point right now where, okay, we thought Cutter was going to be the guy to figure it out if you're worth it. 2 years later, we still don't know. And this is
BA will be able to know. BA will know as soon as he plays this year. He'll know.
Yeah, and Winston either takes off and it becomes evident, or Winston takes off and is gone.
Exactly.
And we shall see. And got some. Todd Bowles comes back as
great
defensive coordinator, who was very successful in Arizona, which leads to some former players there maybe coming back. I don't know. look, I haven't seen any place that has said anything negative about this hire. I think it is viewed as the best off-season hire of any.
I agree.
I think there's no question. That's not, Buccaneer fans just hoping and praying that it does. This was the best hire out there. The Bucs got him. And
that's what, the other thing is, I'm sorry to interrupt, that's the thing is, BA wanted to be here. That was, he said, the only job that he really wanted to have. And to me, that makes a big difference. He likes the family atmosphere of the Glazers. He knows Jason Light very well. Now all his old coaching staff is there. He's surrounding himself with familiarity, the people that he knows he can trust. And it's a family-run organization. So I think he's going to get things done. Is he going to get things done this year? I can't tell you that, but I'm telling you right now, the climate and the psychology of the players will change immediately.
I think it can change quickly because, as you mentioned, these are the same coaches. Even when Dirk Cutter was brought in, you still had to bring in a coaching staff that had never coached with Dirk Cutter before.
Right.
May at some places have been with him, but never have the head coach. So you got to work out that dynamic. We even saw changing from offensive coordinator with Bruce Arians. Every coach that is coming in here, especially the high-profile ones, the defensive coordinator, the offensive coordinator, Byron Leftwich, and special teams coordinator. All of those guys have already worked with Bruce Arians. So there is no meeting to sit down and define your duties and your roles. I mean, those guys walk in the room, they give each other a hug and high five, and they go to work. They know what they're doing. Exactly. So you've already gotten past that. One of the neat things I saw Arians talk about was his double practices that he's going to run, the veterans on the field, the young guys on the field, because I don't want these younger guys standing around as the older guys get reps. He gets it. He understands it. He expects his vets to be ready to go, and you're going to be my guys, but I want the younger guys to get plenty of reps too. It's an interesting philosophy. I mean, I guess I was surprised that it seemed like not a lot of people do that.
No, and that's he's old school. He's coming from 3 a days, So there's a lot of things that he's going to bring into the Buccaneers camp that I think is going to change the culture completely. And I know, and I just feel it in my bones that he is going to make a difference on that team. Now, I'm not going to say he's Tony Dungy difference, but I'm saying he may be Tony Dungy difference. He may change that completely around. He may not get the wins right away. Maybe he does. But I can guarantee you that those players will be held accountable, and they'll be pulling for him 110%.
Yeah, you go back and you say, when have they ever gotten a coach that seems so qualified and ready to come in and win? And you mentioned Dungy. Arians has had a little more playoff success, maybe, I guess you could say, than when Dungy came here. He'd struggled with the Colts. I mean, not with the Colts, but when he got here before he went to the Colts, he
didn't have a big pedigree from a coaching background.
This is, other than when they tried to get Bill Parcells, I mean, when was... even buying Gruden to come here, that wasn't a slam dunk. I mean, that's a guy who had lost in the AFC Championship game. So this may go down as one of the biggest hires ever, and we'll have to see if it ends up being the best.
We'll see. I mean, if it gets us to anywhere to the playoffs, then it's already a win for the community and the Tampa Bay community.
I like I've said before, I mean, you're looking at a division where the quarterbacks are starting to get long in the tooth, and I know Cutter's back in Atlanta. I don't think that solves their problems. No. I was, from a Tampa Bay standpoint, I think you got to be happy that they're sticking with who they had because I don't think it's working in Atlanta. I think Carolina is close to a change too.
Well, there's rumors abound about Cam Newton, so we'll see if he's even available next year.
And again,
Drew Brees is going to be, if he gets to the Super Bowl, you never know, he might even be fading away.
So that division is I said this 2 years ago. That division is right for the Bucs to move up just because Drew Brees just continues to be eternal. But it's right there. They could be, and they could be the surprise team next year. Not because I think they're going to be so much better it's just that division is ready for somebody to challenge New Orleans.
Yep.
And I don't think it's Atlanta. I don't think it is Carolina. It wasn't Tampa Bay this year. But when you got the same things going on in Atlanta and Carolina, and you're trying to make a bold prediction about who's going to be the team that moves up, well, yeah, why not Tampa Bay?
Yeah.
and maybe New Orleans has some slippage. We'll see.
We got it this year. I think.
Okay. Well, real quick before we go, NFL conference championship games. I think they're two great games. Not only is it the 1 and the 2 in both, it's it's interesting.
It is.
The Patriots do not play well away from home. When they lose games in the postseason, it's Super Bowls that are neutral site games, and it is road playoff games. Kansas City has a horrible postseason history of devastating home losses. You almost thought that they were going to give one away to the Colts last week, and they didn't. Hard to believe Mahomes can outduel Brady, but that Kansas City team is good, and
the weather's going to play a factor.
It was bad last week. It'll be better this week, right?
They said it's coming in. There's another storm.
Another snowstorm coming in?
Yeah, another Arctic blast coming in. They said it's going to hit right around game time. So if that's the case, then, that's going to
There are more playmakers on Kansas City.
Yes.
But the
grinding,
Belichick and Brady.
Exactly. That's the difference. That's the difference maker right there. The play calling that they're going to be able to do, and the release for Tom Brady. I mean, Mahomes releases it just as fast, I believe, but Tom Brady can pick and choose what he wants to do as soon as he sees that he knows what's going on. He's been there a long time. That's where the problem's going to be. They're going to have to get some pressure on the inside for Brady. He's got to be pressured. When you don't pressure him, as you saw last week, holy moly, he'll just pick you apart.
Yeah. I mean, my gut always says don't bet against Bill Belichick or Tom Brady. You've got a young quarterback in Mahomes who, hard to believe, he's ready to make that jump. So everything screams New England. There's just something something about Mahomes. You know, now he may have a 3-interception game and play like a first-year quarterback, but something, I don't know. There's just something. I think Kansas City is going to win that football game, and he's just on kind of one of those magical runs. He's just got that infectious personality. I know that doesn't mean a darn thing about winning a football game.
He's on a Foles run.
And he's more talented.
He's way more talented.
And he's got a better cast around him.
Exactly.
And they can play a little bit of defense up there in Kansas City.
Slight.
So we'll see. The other one is, this one worries me that it could get out. I'm wondering if the Saints didn't have their
bad game.
Yeah,
the bad game last week. That's what I thought too.
They did, but you look at the last few weeks. They haven't been firing on all cylinders offensively with those 40-point outbursts the last quarter of the season. This will be a confident Rams team going in there, but man, that place is tough.
It is.
The place is tough to win. Philadelphia was playoff strong, and they knew how to go through it, but they still made some mistakes.
There's some guys on the Rams though that Donald, the front four on that's going to be the hard part of trying to keep Breeze in the pocket or get him out of the pocket so he can make some plays because Donald, I think, is going to dominate on that.
And if you're the Rams, even though they've got some tremendous receivers and Goff has been excellent this year and they're kind of known as a lot, they got to run the football.
Yeah, watch for Kamara to have a big game.
He was kind of underutilized. I thought, and
maybe second half.
Maybe that was part of the slow start. But I would, I would go with the two home teams, but I don't know if I've been this excited about two championship games because I just think these are the four best teams in football and
four best offenses,
and three of them are exciting offenses to watch. I mean, goodness gracious, wouldn't it be kind of fun to see the Chiefs and the Rams one more time in a Super Bowl?
Exactly.
Probably won't happen, but anyway, that's the end of that talk. We'll keep you updated on college basketball as well. Gators SEC play struggling a little bit. Lost to Mississippi State the other night. Florida State was a top 10 team in college basketball. They have dropped 3 ACC games. Now, granted, one was at home to Duke on a last-second shot, but they got beat at Pitt the other night. Not a very good look for Leonard Hamilton and crew. So we'll keep you up to date as we get closer because all of a sudden we're talking about March Madness.
Yeah, it's right around the corner too.
Yeah, so that'll do it for us for this Citrus Preps podcast. Stay tuned on YouTube for all of our updated stories, and we'll be back here again next Wednesday with another podcast, Citrus Preps Podcast Live. Have a great week, everybody.